Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. Glad to have you here. Today we're going to be looking at a greenskins versus beastmen matchup. And so this is, I think, a pretty fun one. And I'm going up against a Zeva member. And so they're I feel like a pretty good um, like clan essentially for Warhammer. And all their players are pretty good. And there's a good number of them in the top like couple hundred. Yeah, so I brought a heavy melee greenskin army, consisting of 4 savage orcs here. And I brought these guys because I know the beastmen don't have that much ranged power, so the lack of armor here will not be that much of a detriment, and they're just a good core infantry to bring. I have 2 black orcs, and I brought these guys because they're immune to psychology, and will be able to not rout because of terror from monsters or fear from monsters. They'll be able to last even into the late game. And besides like the Minotaurs and the heroes, the beastmen don't really have that much armor piercing damage, so definitely an asset here. In the middle, I have an 8-peak loony. The 8-peak loonies, and I brought these guys because they're unbreakable. And I just wanted a very solid core here in the middle. Behind them, I have a orc shaman on foot with the big wah. So I have Foot of Gork here on him, and here we go. So lots of high power abilities there. And I have my orc war boss on a boar mount with his spiked tusks. Supporting each black orc, or just supporting the savage orcs to either side of the black orcs, are these goblin big bosses on foot. And so they're really cheap, and they're just there to support the leadership of the savage orcs. I have 1 unit of goblin archers to shoot at minotaurs and whatever else he brings. And I brought these guys just because even if they're on the field and shooting at the minotaurs, I feel like he's not going to go out of his way to attack these guys, just because their damage output is not that great. And they're going to have better targets around here. So I'm hoping that they can get some damage done. On either side, I have a orc biggin behind my line. And I'll throw these guys in wherever minotaurs are, or wherever centaurs are flanking around, just to protect my back line or to strengthen my front line against large units. Yeah, oh, and of course, my spider here. Going to be summoning some baby spiders to disrupt charges and to go after skirmishers. Very good unit here. Definitely very good at fighting large units like minotaurs or heroes. He has a great front line here of gore herd with shields. Definitely, I feel like one of the better units in the beastmen lineup. Cheap, effective, have shields, and good melee stats. So definitely a good front line here of the gore herd with shields. They even have chevrons on them with his extra cash, which I agree with. That's a good spend. In the back, he's got a huge Minotaur force, knowing that the greenskins are going to have some large units that he's going to need to take out. He brought 2 of these Minotaurs with great weapons here, so they're going to be really good against my general and really good against my spider and boar boy biggins if I brought them. And he has 2 just regular Minotaurs here to cleave through some infantry and help clean up the poorly armored infantry of the greenskins. On this side, he's got Morgar, definitely the best general here. He's going to be spawning some Chaos Spawn behind my line, so definitely something to be aware of. He's got Gorbol here in the middle. It's not a beastmen army without one of these guys. And, of course, a Lord of Beasts Spray Shaman. So I'm definitely going to be wary of this guy and be watching out for him and where he places his Flock of Doom. You can see with my line, wherever he places it, he's only going to be able to get maybe 2 units here. So that's the way I want to keep it throughout this battle. And I see Flock of Doom, so I'm going to be ready to countercharge once he gets in range. You don't want to sit back and just take that. But I'm trying to figure out, right now I'm hovering over all these Minotaurs, trying to figure out which ones have great weapons and which ones that don't. Um, Definitely something to be aware of when fighting these guys. Just on their unit card, it's hard to tell. These guys, they do have a big axe in front of them, but it's hard to see when you're like up here just looking at some Minotaurs. They kind of look the same. But you can tell from the tag they have a big axe in front of them, and they're going to be anti-large, so definitely want to keep my general away from those guys. My spider will do probably fine against them, but will take some damage. So here, I'm going to keep moving. I'm going to rush up here with my main line. Keep my biggins in close support. And I'm going to be throwing them in wherever the Minotaurs are thrown in to try and tear them down because of their anti-large bonus. We'll cut off some of the tags here. And you're going to see me. You see how my Savage Orcs are pulling ahead? I'm going to actually turn my Savage Orcs to walk here soon so that my Black Orcs can catch up. And so that's a good way of making that happen. Here, I'm going to be spawning a unit of spiders in here. And you see I'm going to interrupt the charges of all of these Minotaurs. And so I'm going to be able to get great charges here and protect my spider from a lot of the damage they could dish out on the charge. So definitely a good use of spider hatchlings. And I'm also going to spawn one over here to take a swing at the Bray Shaman. Just get some early damage here. You can see just the Gore Herd versus the Savage Orcs. The Gore Herd are going to do very well just because they have higher melee defense and they can dish out damage against unarmored troops, and so they're going to do just fine against these Savage Orcs. So definitely glad I brought the Black Orcs as a kind of core to reinforce. I'm going to be casting Wah here to buff up all of the guys' attack by 58, and I'm going to be rushing my biggins in here to help. You can see my biggins getting in against these Minotaurs. Definitely not the fight they want to take. Let's see if we can get a close-up over here. I'm currently trying to get off a Foot of Gork right here, but it's just not working for some reason. It keeps like not going off. Probably because the Gorble keeps punching him in the face, sending him flying here. So I'm going to miss a Foot of Gork here. Just get the outside edges here of these Gore Herd. Still going to be disruptive, still going to help, but definitely not worth the mana there. So here you can see, terrified, these Gore Herd are going to be terrified off the field by the spider. But you can see just how much damage, even though I've already popped my potion, how much damage these Minotaurs with great weapons are doing against my two large units here. They're having a hard time against the spider, luckily. So definitely she's still in the game. You can see my spider's not doing much here, just trying to keep him stuck somewhere. Mismacroing my Goblin Big Boss, he's chasing these guys. Definitely want to bring him back into the fight. You can see the giant foot imprint left behind of Gork. Here you can see my Goblin Archers. Not doing much, just pecking away at Gorble. And that's exactly why I brought these guys, to try and target out those heroes. You can see he crushed through this flank with Morgur, the Chaos Spawn, and some Gore Herd. And so definitely that is a threat. But I'm winning so much on this side that I'm pretty confident I can sweep around and re-support in the middle here. And you can see he just really doesn't have an answer for the Black Orcs here, because all of his Minotaurs were put in against my Spider and my General. And being supported by biggins, they're not going to like that fight very much. Gorble routes. Good Flock of Doom there on that pack. So he did like 900 damage to like 3 of these units. Definitely going to do him some good. You can see my spiders, also great use of these guys, chasing off routing units. Very helpful. Stop them from coming back. If I'd had some spiders ready, I could have chased all of these guys off. What are these guys shooting at? Oh, they don't have a good shot here, so most of them aren't shooting, but a couple arrows will be going off, trying to finish off that Gorble. You can see my spider sending these guys flying. Pretty devastating charge there from the Minotaurs, but they're not going to... They surprisingly don't do that much damage for being anti-large. My Goblin Big Boss went and scared off that Bray Shaman. So I just feel like I need to turn around here and turn around this blob, finish this off, and then turn around here and really focus on Morgar. Here you can see another foot of Gork is going to come in, slam the remainder of these Gore herd, and send them running. So it's going to kind of isolate their Chaos Spawn and make them far less effective against my Black Orcs and my AP Loonies. You can see they're doing a good job just getting in there, taking damage instead of the Black Orcs. My Orc Shaman here has been fighting Gorbol and is going to go down. I really don't expect him to do much. He already cast 3 spells, and that's when they're such high cost like that, that's really all you can expect from them. Just because the mana reserves just aren't that big. And so this is going to boil down to one big old fight in the middle. And I see his Bray Shaman coming back. And I see my big blob here. And that is not what I want at all. And so I'm going to break off one of these Savage Orcs to try and go deal with him. Or at least protect that flank. But I think I actually turned them off up here against these Gorherd to protect my units that are already fighting from getting rear charged. You can see in here, between my Orc War Boss and my Ragnarok Spider, that's a lot of damage. You can see Wah going off, and so I'm going to be hitting him every turn, especially with Wah on the Spider and the Black Orcs. And so even his immense levels of tankiness are going to go down here. And I really need to finish him off because he will just recharge. But I think he actually shatters there. Yeah, so he has a whole bunch of health regen, so if you only damage him a little bit and let him go, definitely a bad move. Here, thankfully, the Bray Shaman routes, and that's kind of the end. These Chaos Spawn are unbreakable, taking some fire from my Goblin Archers. It's definitely going to help send these guys back to their Chaos deities. Black Orc is almost as big as the Chaos Spawn. Anyway, so Feroic victory. Definitely could have gone either way there. I think the critical moment was preventing the charges on the Minotaurs, and then letting my Spider and my General and my Black Orcs get their charge. And so that really shifted kind of the main line engagement far into my favor, using the Spiders to disrupt the charges. Kind of like how you would, in the previous patch, use your Goblin Big Bosses on Spiders to interrupt charges for your Cavalry. You can do the same thing with the spawned Spiders. And that's an especially good way to do it if there are no ranged troops on the field for your Spiders to go after. Use them to interrupt charges, chase away fleeing units, and just get rear charges on low morale units. They won't really do much damage, but they will inflict the attacked in the back penalty. So let's go take a look at the kills here. You can see my Black Orc, one of my Black Orcs doing really well, this Savage Orc doing really well, my Shaman getting a lot of kills, one of my Big Bosses doing pretty well. My Spider here mostly worked on Minotaurs and Heroes, and so definitely good amount of kills there for primarily large units, large and low unit sized units. My Apex Loonies did their job just by dying and not routing. That's what I had them for, and my Goblin Archers took a good deal of health off of Gorbol, and so that was always good to just start doing damage early to those key units. You can see like decent kills here across the board on the Gore Herd, and really good kills here on these just 2 Minotaur units. But these 2 Minotaurs with great weapons that he sent against the Spider, they just weren't able to get their charges, and I swarmed them with so many high value units that they just they didn't stand a chance there. Especially with like Here We Go going off. And the Ragnarok Spider can probably take out 1 Minotaur per attack, and so definitely have to be careful with these guys. Yeah, anyways, good game to my opponent here, and thanks for watching. That's that.